And
Okay.
they've made some interesting casting choices, as well as decisions on how to update the story.
Okay, how much you want to guess that he's pissed off at the cast either becoming non-white or women are replacing male positions? Is that gonna? It's usually the two big ones.
The modern age. Game of Thrones star Jacob Anderson cast as Louis in AMC's Interview with the Vampire.
The first one. Interview with a Vampire reboot? Ooh, yeah, I could do that.
Greetings, Magogonites, and welcome back to the Necronook. I've been gazing into your world and judging you harshly. Today we're going to talk about yet another Hollywood remake in the pipeline, and this one kind of pisses me off more than others. You know, some movies you could argue need to be remade. Some need to be transferred to television because they're such a...
I think I'll this is probably the only time the two of us are going to agree, so I'm just going to throw this out there. I think everyone, doesn't matter where you are in the political compass, where you land, I'm pretty sure everyone would say that the majority of mainstream Hollywood films being almost exclusively Marvel franchises, remakes, reboots, it sucks. No one wanted it to turn out this way. It's just kind of, I would say, one of the inevitable byproducts of both capitalism and the film industry becoming too big in their projects to really take risks. I mean, if you're spending $500 million on a movie that's going to be a big summertime feature, you better hope that you make your return, not just here, but abroad. So that's pretty much the way of the industry now.
A complicated story that they might work better in the longer format, you know, of multiple episodes. There are arguments out there for some reboots and remakes. I'm not a complete, anti-reboot remake guy. But there are some movies that are perfect, just the way they are, you know? And Hollywood is remaking them anyway because either they're going to lose the IP if they don't do something with it, or they're just doing it for nostalgia dollars, trying to get asses in seats because of the name, the brand.
Kind of losing his accent, but I guess he's becoming more passionate about what he's talking about, so I can forgive that.
And I fucking hate that shit too, don't get me wrong. Some things you need to leave alone because they're great the way they are, and they don't need a remake. They stand up even to this day. And today we're talking about exactly one of those things. Long before Twilight and all those namby-pamby vampire TV shows like the one about the diaries and the originals and all those crappy CW.
I was really wondering what his recommendations were going to be for that, like for perfect films. Was it going to be like The Birth of a Nation? It's like, oh yes, The Birth of a Nation. They knocked that one right out of the park. It was sublime, that film. I watch it every morning. It inspires me.
Vampires and shit, long before those were popular. There was Anne Rice's vampire universe, which began with Interview with the Vampire, a movie that I personally think is one of the greatest vampire films to ever exist. Tom Cruise's portrayal of the vampire Lestat, Brad Pitt as Louis. Oh man, Kirsten Dunst as Claudia. She was fantastic, even though she was 8 years old. It was so... I mean, God, what a fucking performance. You know, and it didn't follow the book strictly, you know, and that... I get that argument too, that it kind of deviated a little bit from the book in order to make it a shorter runtime. There was a lot of fat that was trimmed from the novel, and some of the characters didn't look exactly like how...
Now, I haven't read the book, so I can't compare the two, but I will say, as someone who actually enjoyed Interview with a Vampire, it was gay as fuck. In a really good way.
How they were described in the books, like Armand. Armand in the movie was played by Antonio Banderas, and he had jet black hair, and he kind of had this whole more of a Dracula vibe, right?
The books are more gay.
In the books,
he
was
nice.
this little fucking teenager. He was a little 16-year-old kid with auburn hair, freckles. You know, I get there were certain decisions made to make the movie a bit grittier and darker and more.
Yeah, sorry, I should speed him
like
up. He's
an
very slow.
artistic painting, like a dark Gothic painting, right? Very popular at the time as well, because there was success in that with Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, and there was something kind of artistically interesting visually about the films of that era.
Use your words.
Interview with one of them.
Describe what you
AMC
want
is
to
rebooting
say.
Interview with the Vampire into a TV show, and
Okay.
they've made some interesting casting choices as well as decisions on how to update the story.
Okay, how much you want to guess that he's pissed off at the cast either becoming non-white or women are replacing male positions? Is that gonna be? It's usually the two big ones.
The modern age. Game of Thrones star Jacob Anderson cast as Louis in AMC's Interview with the Vampire.
The first one. It was
God, those communists are amazing.
It was-
Volpy's Foxnick gave Unicorn Glitty a tier 1 subscription.
it was the first one. It was the first one that he was upset about. Thank you, Vulpes Foxnick. I really appreciate that.
Vampire series. In case you don't remember, Jacob Anderson is the man who played Grey Worm in Game of Thrones. He was like the
I really appreciated him in that role. I thought it was a fitting role. I'm not going to say what that role was in the show, but let me just say that it was appropriate because of certain conditions. I don't want to have to say out loud, but I'm pretty sure you all understand what is being heavily implied here, yes?
leader of the Unsullied. He had no dick. They cut his balls and dick off. So he was a eunuch. There's a picture of him right there. Jacob Anderson is ready to wiggle himself into a very different kind of fantasy show. After playing the Unsullied leader Grey Worm for years on Game of Thrones, EW has confirmed that Anderson has been cast as Louis in AMC's upcoming Interview with the Vampire television series. Alright, there's some more background here than just this article, alright? I've done some research here. I wanted to know more. Why this casting choice? I wanted to know if Anne Rice even had a part in the production, and she does. She's an executive producer as well as her son. They're both involved with the show, and they're updating it. They're making it new. Alright? This one, Louis is going to be black, but they can't make him a plantation owner. So, because he's black. I mean, you don't want him to be a black slave owner. So they're making it to where Louis is the owner of multiple brothels in New Orleans. In like the 1700s. He's going to be a black brothel owner. I already hate it. I'm sorry, I just have to say. I mean, Interview the Vampire is already good. You don't need to remake it. But they're doing it anyway. I'll get into more.
Then don't watch it. Then, like, you don't... So much of this, do you remember when the quartering was on the last season of She-Ra? And it was like, oh, the nightmare is almost over. I was like, the self-imposed nightmare of your own design? Because you never had to watch a single episode. You can just leave it alone and let the people who do enjoy the new version enjoy the new version. And then you can go off into the corner and fap to the old version. You don't lose any of that.
More detail. More rumors that I've heard from other sources. Coming up, let's finish this here. Originally written as a novel by Anne Rice in 1976, Interview with the Vampire is the story of Louis de Pont de Duloc.
This is actually historically accurate. There were lots of freed and free people of color of all kinds in New Orleans, even in pre-Civil War times.
Who has turned into a vampire by the charismatic Lestat in 18th century and is now telling his story to a modern-day journalist. In the 1994 film version, directed by Neil Jordan, Tom Cruise portrayed Lestat, while Brad Pitt played Louis in this new take. Anderson will step into the shoes once filled by Pitt, while Sam Reed has been cast as Lestat. And Sam Reed... This is Sam Reed. He's another Game of Thrones alum, I believe. I don't really recognize him, though. I don't know what character he played in Game of Thrones. I don't know what else he's done. He doesn't have one of those faces that I just remember, but he's stepping in the role that was made iconic by Tom Cruise. Anne Rice is the one who's...
Like, iconic. I don't know. I'm not someone who likes to talk about internalized, homosexuality. I'm just, I'm pretty open about being biased, so it's not really an issue for me. But certainly there's something to be said about people who are deeply concerned about whether or not certain actors are going to live up to their prior roles in something that has become something of a, let us just say, a queer icon, as that film was.
Okay with all these changes, because she's an executive producer, so it's kind of hard to argue that you should stick to the source material because the person who wrote the source material is okaying these decisions. now Louis going to be like a black brothel owner instead of, the very kind of, pale-skinned Brad Pitt look, right? The dark hair. And they've also made some other changes, which I have read on multiple other sources. Google interviewed the Vampire AMC, and I'm sure you can find multiple articles on the subject. But basically, they're going to update it to the modern times. Daniel, who is giving the interview, is going to be a much older gentleman who is also a professor as well as a reporter for The Guardian. And he's going to have...
Okay, that seems like just enough peppering of, like, whatever they want to call it, like the wokeification to piss them off.
Oh, The Guardian. Oh, no, not that one, the transphobic to my liking, but there's other things I'm not quite as fond of in that one. Yes.
You could just have Christian Slater do it again. I mean, Christian Slater, I'm sure he's like, oh yeah, it's the part I was born to play, baby.
And he's kind of struggling with his job because he has to teach from home because of COVID. And he gets like a second chance to interview the vampire. Because the first time he interviews Louis, like Louis lied, or some things got mixed up, or the journalist was an alcoholic and couldn't remember everything. So now that he's older and more time has passed, he's going to have a second chance to interview. I'm being fucking serious. You people are looking at the screen right now, listening to me explain this storyline like I'm fucking crazy. I am being completely serious. Fucking Google it. Like, there are multiple articles attached to this article, and this article will be down in the description if you want to start there and then just go down the rabbit hole, okay? Because I'm not going to put like 5 articles in my description. Just start here and just keep on Googling, and you'll fucking run into it all. I'm just talking about it. Black brothel owner from the 18th century New Orleans who lies during his first interview, and then when Daniel gets older, gets a second chance during COVID. And there's going to be lots of flashbacks. Still no word on who's cast as Claudia. That'll be an interesting discussion later on, probably. But this is the direction they're going. And honestly, you can't even be mad at them for not following the source material because Anne Rice and...
Yeah, it's so dry. I have trouble even using this to, like, make fun of it. I guess this... Like, he used to have a little bit more pageantry. Not like that any of the pageantry is gone, but there used to be, like, this thing where Magog would talk to his, like, transphobic crow, and then the transphobic crow would say a bunch of, like, really yikesy stuff, and we'll go back to him, and at least there was some, like, some back and forth, like, Doomcock at least has, like, the stuff in the background. Well, like, what's the latest Doomcock one? Alright, let's see what he's talking about. Just gonna move through our weird chuds for 2 seconds.
Regarding Phoebe Waller-Bridge replacing Indiana Jones as the star of the Indiana Jones franchise, a rumor I reported in this video over 2 months ago is now spreading like wildfire throughout the mainstream media, and it seems once again that Doomcock was right. Although they are not giving me credit for this breaking rumor, a situation that suits me just fine since this means they are confirming the rumor I broke from other outside sources. A number of publications, including the New York Post, The Independent, The Daily Mail, Screen Crush, Screen Rant, and NME, among others, are catching up to
It's not available in Canada,
finally
Vincent.
falling all over themselves to report what I already reported 2 months ago, that Kathleen Kennedy is all set to destroy the Indiana Jones franchise.
What the fuck is this? Oh, is this the first exposure? I love introducing people to Doomcock. So Doomcock is basically an MRA advocate who LARPs around as a toilet seat and then likes to talk about how, obviously, all the typical things that you would hear. Non-white people are in movies and it's destroying cinema. There's too many femoids who are taking over the roles of chads, all that kind of stuff. Weird shit, It's just your pop culture 101 kind of like outrage machine. Go woke, go broke kind of stuff, that's it. But we also found out that he's most likely also this alternate persona on BitChute. He does this like full-on fash stuff where he's an actual like neo-Nazi and dresses up like a villain from Wolfenstein 3D and will do like it sounds the exact same. So most people, and it has the same kind of like shitty costume design. So people are like, it must be the same person, where he'll like, say much more inflammatory stuff about the rise of, the master race and stuff like that.
By turning it into the Lara Croft,
which kind of sucks because it's almost as if he makes money from this channel and that money gets funneled into his actual neo-Nazi outfit.
Franchise, minus the name, Lara Croft.
You called it, Doomcock. Gotta hand it to you.
You see? The pageantry, at least. Like, the little puppetry, like, it's appreciated. It's a nice break from just a person staring at the camera and being like,
oh, this is why I don't like some of the decisions in a film coming out. I'm sure you understand.
Well, I didn't call it Harvey Cthulhu. My sources did. And once again, my faith in my Hollywood spies has been confirmed. Yesterday's rumors often turn into tomorrow's news, which is why I report on these stories. We, as fans, are lied to and managed. Sources told the outlet that producer Kathleen Kennedy was looking to make big changes, which could include replacing the lead character with a woman.
So it hasn't even been announced. It's just suggested, and that's enough. That's enough for the outrage machine. Yeah, oh yeah, it's happening. Oh no, they're doing a gender swap.
Would be a huge statement and a great role for Phoebe, one insider told the Mail. It was announced earlier this year that the Fleabag star had been cast opposite 79-year-old Ford in the film, the name of which has not yet been revealed. It's not clear who Waller-Bridge will portray in the upcoming movie, but a source told the Mail, quote, "The gossip on the set is that this character will slot into the leading role," unquote.
Holy rolling boulder, Doomcock! This Phoebe Waller-Bridge is hell-bent on destroying every male-centric franchise. She's right on the spot, man. She's writing the new James...
And again, who does this appeal to? Like, it doesn't appeal to kids, obviously. It's way too weird for them. They don't care about these issues. They're like, I don't care. Like, fucking Indiana Jones is a woman now. Okay, it's a fictional character. Doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, come on. Discordiac arrest, thank you. Vote chats, baby.
Bond movie where a woman is supposedly taking 007's number away from him? And now here she is, trying to steal Indy's gig.
That's why Kathleen Kennedy cast her, to go ahead and send a message to the patriarchy, meaning the male fans that have supported the franchises she is destroying for decades.
Which kind of makes sense, right? So he does his, like, alt-right LARPing as a Nazi on the other channel on BitChute, and then does his, like, MRA Nazi LARPing over here. But at least in this sense, this is all going to be, like, you know, safe for YouTube, just to be like, oh, yes, men are getting replaced. They're replacing men with women. Yes, with women. Yes, that's the ticket.
That she's coming to trash everything we love. She made this casting choice deliberately to make a statement. And now it's even getting out into the mainstream media that she is swapping out Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Harrison Ford, if this rumor is true. But now that we've taken a look at what the mainstream media is reporting about this rumor, let's look back at what Doomcock said over 2 months ago. Now, this source contacted my Hollywood spies directly, which is odd. Usually my Hollywood spies serve as agents for me, and they do one hell of a great job. They filter out as many cranks and phonies as they can. They check out backstories, try to confirm identities, cross-check rumors with known contacts that we've worked with in the past. They do incredible work. They don't share everything they hear with me, protecting me and all of my viewers as best they can from reporting false information, hoaxes and whatnot. But sometimes, even with all the checking, they remain uncertain and tell me to proceed with reporting the information at my discretion. So in this case, a source...
As a man, I feel utterly destroyed by this. Warning, you are now entering the rumor zone! Before, it wasn't, that whole thing was based on rumors. Nothing was confirmed.
But since I absolutely cannot confirm any of what I'm about to tell you, and I have not seen a copy of the actual script, I am reporting this as unverified rumor, and I'm telling you to take it with several heaping teaspoons of salt. So this is what I've been told, and obviously if this is true, then there are some spoilers, though I'm not going to get super specific here. I'm going to try and be general, just touching on the highlights.
Or lowlights, as the case may be.
Precisely, Harvey. So at the start of the script...
Like, again, these are those kind of videos where, like, who do you share this with? Who do you send this to that's not utterly embarrassing for you to have sent it to? Like, who's gonna receive this and be like, yo, dog, you watch this? Like, unironically? You serious?
Indy is close to retirement from the college where he teaches. This is set in the 60s, this has been confirmed by Lucasfilm itself, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is reportedly his teaching assistant. One day, some men show up in his office.
Okay, who cares? Who cares? I ask you, who cares? Like, why does any of that matter? The last Indiana Jones movie sucked. Like, and that had everything you want. Indiana Jones was Indiana Jones. He was played by Harrison Ford. He had a son. It was Shia LaBeouf. It was all the stuff you want. Like, come on, goddamn. It's like, oh, the franchise could have been saved had it not been for the Femoids. And then the Femoids came along and destroyed our golden franchise.
Hating patriarchy, toppling woke bullshit that Kennedy loves. I mean, look at what they did to Luke, if you think she would hesitate to pull this off if she was allowed to. Now, in the other ending that is allegedly being considered, old Indy dies, young Indy lives, and he teams up with Phoebe Waller-Bridge to get her back to her time. Regardless of which ending they wind up going with, if there's any truth to these rumors, an Indiana Jones TV series will pick up where this leaves off on Disney+.
This is just really sick. I mean, does Bob Chapek or anybody in the upper echelons of Disney have any idea what's going on in this world? I mean, do they think that fans are gonna watch an Indiana Jones TV series run by Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Are they out of their minds?
Well, I think perhaps they are out of their minds, Harvey, crazy as rats in a coffee can. And so, once again, Hollywood is systematically destroying our modern myths, methodically and obsessively replacing every straight male hero with women and people of color in an attempt to engineer social change in your living room and on your dime. Once again, Kathleen Kennedy is trying to utterly transform the face of our culture, our memories, our very identities in service of her woke agenda. And once again...
Oh my god. Oh my god. Indiana Jones fan reactive rumor, Phoebe Waller-Bridge could replace Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's gotta be so strange that this actually matters so much to you, right? Like, with everything else that's going on in the world. It's like I woke up and I was just having a good day, you know? I was just gonna go see my friends and my family, but then I opened the paper to find out that apparently Phoebe Waller-Bridge is gonna be playing Indiana Jones, or at least it's been rumored, and now I'm just beside myself, you know? I can't stop thinking about it, how much our beloved franchise are, because again, I'm involved in it somehow, has completely fallen apart. To the woke mobs. They won. They won, everybody. The wokes have won. Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs Cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like, just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account, because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then, and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks, why do older generations believe the things they believe? One of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, may you shower us mortals with gifts from the heaven. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your humble jesters, clowning around for your amusement. To our lord, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, we give you our thanks for this meager land for us to toil our seed. To our knights of the Round Table, Egbard Sealine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Chronic de Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glasses and we salute you, our comrades.